Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we are going to create this gorgeous floral striped tumbler. We are using a 24-ounce plump from the TIPSY Magnolia, and I'm sorry, my footage of applying the full glue from Southern Belle Glitter is out in the cloud somewhere. I have no idea where it went, but I did use a soft makeup brush to apply an extra thin layer of the Southern Belle Glitter full glue. That stuff is amazing. It dries incredibly tacky, so it's perfect for almost any application possible. We are using Shattered Mirror fragment flakes from PDB Creative Studio, and once again I'm going to use almost an entire container of this stuff from these tiny little jars, but it looks so beautiful, so I mean I had to. Every single time I use like chameleon flakes or any kind of full flakes at all, I see them floating through the air in the mess that I'm making, and I'm constantly looking at my hand like, what did I get myself into? But it really does turn out nice. We're just going to rub those full flakes down into that glue until we have complete coverage. Once we have this completely covered, I'm going to use a very light coat of Rust-Oleum matte clear coat and seal that in, and then give it 2 coats of epoxy, sanding in between my layers. We want an extra smooth, glossy surface to put on our florals. These are from Gracefully Created. It's one of the floral element sheets that we most recently collaborated with, and this one in particular has 2 border strips. Now we could apply this to the top or the bottom, or we can even start from the center and do something unique, but this time I wanted to do a swirl around the tumbler just to give you something different to do with these border elements. I don't have any painter's tape right now, so I cut off a 2-inch section of some scrap vinyl that I had laying around. We got to use those scraps, y'all. We can't just let them sit forever, okay? So I cut off a 2-inch strip of that. Once I have that first element in place, I'm going to take that 2-inch strip and swirl it around so that it gives me a guide for the second strip of florals, because Lord knows I would never get that straight just trying to eyeball it. And notice that on that first element strip, I did not completely put that down just yet. I'm still trying to map out where I want everything. So I did only cut the bottom and the top little, I would say probably about an inch, inch and a half off the bottom and the top, so I could press it down in place. This is removable vinyl, so it will lift up easily whenever you are ready to apply it. The second strip, I did the same, and then we're going to use the hinge method to put it in place, press that exposed piece down, and then I will work my way around with the rest of it. We're going to go back to that first one, and we're going to do the same with it, putting them both in place exactly where we want them. I really could have cut this footage down a little more, and believe me, I did cut a good chunk out of me constantly removing this and trying to put it in place. It's really hard to swirl these decals around a tumbler, but it's good that this vinyl is removable. It doesn't mean it's going to lift at all. Once you try to epoxy your cup, you do not have to seal them once you place them down. It just makes life a whole lot easier when you're really not good at positioning your decals the first time. I removed this probably, gosh, 6, 7, maybe 8 times before I got it right, just because it's a little thicker, so it's not as easy to lay down flat as, say, a strip of small vinyl. If you have to do the same while using these element sheets, just try your best to put your fingers in behind the decal itself and not the clear part. So if you do leave fingerprints, it is left underneath that white ink and you won't be able to see it once your decal is down. If you do have it in the clear areas, especially if you're applying it to a darker surface, you'll be able to see those fingerprints or like oily residue left behind from your fingers. So touch in behind the white elements on those decal sheets. Now, my initial plan was to add just a couple strips of vinyl right there at the edge of our florals, and then I was going to do a nice little phrase like, "You are beautiful," or something to do with, you know, Mother's Day, something motivational. But once I started my stripes, I couldn't stop, and I completely covered the entire section with stripes. So I think it was a good alternative to have something that's not wordy or doesn't have a name, but you can definitely customize it with a name in that section. Use a really pretty dainty font that's kind of elongated so it will wrap out around the entire section. Or if you're going to do something like ready to ship, this is definitely a good idea to fill it in with these stripes. It gives a lot of depth and dimension to this tumbler. So all of the vinyls that I'm using are, of course, TECKWRAPCRAFT, and I will have each individually one labeled down below so you know exactly which one to look for on their website and on Amazon. Now, rather than going in the center of our matte chrome red, I went a little more towards the top. It was kind of offset. Just, I don't know, I guess I thought it would just look better. It would show a little bit more of the red towards the bottom, so it's broken up whenever we add on more of the textured metallic gold right beneath it. I don't know, it made sense in my head and it looked good, so we went with it. Once we had all of our stripes on, I'm going to go around the top rim of the tumbler and the bottom rim and trim off any of that excess just below the top rim. You want to go below it and not right at it, so that when you do sand around the rim, you're not going to nick your vinyl and damage it in any way. And it will also cut down on any of it poking through at the top underneath your epoxy. Now, you don't need any kind of fancy tools or anything like that to cut off the excess vinyl. I am freehanding it, which is pretty risky because I cannot cut a straight line to save my life, but somehow I did this time. But you can also use masking tape, painter's tape, or even a scrap piece of vinyl to give yourself a guide on that straight line around your top and your bottom rims. Once we have that complete, this tumbler is done. It's very simple, yet a beautiful, elegant tumbler. The first layer of epoxy is a little extra incorporated turbo fast setting epoxy. This stuff is incredible. It's thin, so it's great for the first of your 2 final layers. And then I'm going to top it off with the original, a little extra incorporated epoxy. And this one is complete. I hope that y'all enjoyed this tutorial and you love how this tumbler turned out, or can just use some of the ideas, tips, and tricks to apply it to your own design. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll answer them as quickly as possible. All materials that I have used will be listed down in the description with some coupon codes for y'all. If you aren't part of the Brittany Barnes Boutique Facebook group or following us on Instagram, make sure that you do that now. Of course, subscribe to our channel. We are only 1 subscriber away from 20,000 subs, y'all. I am so excited. And of course, we're going to have giveaways really soon for hitting yet another milestone with our channel. All right, y'all, that is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next time.